in search of soil.
What is soil organic matter? It's you can think of it as dead plant tissue, microbes, but they have evolved. They are no longer, certainly I put a leaf down there, you can recognize the leaf and you can watch the leaf decompose. Well, now you're releasing various organic molecules. Those molecules can be a group of amino acids, a peptide, right? Or it can be sugars, 2 or 3 sugar molecules linked together, saccharide, disaccharide, trisaccharide, or something like that. And you can have various chemical reactions that cause those to polymerize. Or you can add in a silicon or aluminum that would tend to coagulate those organic molecules. And you are producing over time what we call humus or humic substances that are present in the soil that give soils the black color. This humic material exists in a number of different forms, but think of it kind of as a fuzzy, furry film that sort of coats the mineral surfaces, fills voids between mineral particles, can fluff up the soil. Okay, you start taking your clay minerals and you cover it with humic materials, and they're going to be less likely to swell. You can even get some humic materials inside of the clays themselves, inhibiting the swelling. Humic materials also contain lots of other nutrients. So we've been talking mostly about cations like potassium, calcium, magnesium. But for a plant to grow, also needs nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur. And these tend to exist as anions, negatively charged ions. The nitrogen can exist both as a positive and negative. It can exist as ammonium, which is a +1, or it can exist as nitrate, which is a -1. And it can be transformed between the two. Okay, it can also exist as an amino acid inside of that humic material. So typically, soil humus has a carbon to nitrogen ratio of about 10:1. And as microbes consume the humus, the nitrogen, which is part of the amino acids that is part of this humic material, gets released into the soil solution as an ammonium form. And plants can take that up. So the humus plays a very critical role in supplying particularly nitrogen, but also to some extent phosphorus and sulfur and other more anionic nutrients to support plant productivity. So really they work synergistically together. But what you're referring to is you talked about these chunks of clay. Well, of course, they're not pure clay. They're a mixture of clay, sand, and silt. But if you get enough clay in there, they can dry out and become quite hard. Yep. But you get enough humus in there, and you can basically sort of fluff it up. The humus has a low density, and it fills all these pores in between the particles and fluffs it up. It holds water, it provides habitat for microorganisms, and it provides food for microorganisms. So the humus, the soil organic matter, evolves relatively rapidly Whereas I mentioned ago that the mineralogy doesn't change much on a human lifetime time scale. A little bit, but not a lot, unless there's an erosion event, that sort of thing. But the organic matter can go up and down, depending on how you manage that soil. If I'm putting lots of manure on, I'm keeping, I have a perennial crop, a grass crop, as opposed to a row crop, which is there just part of the year. I'm putting greater amounts of organic matter, fresh biological material, plant roots, leaves, stems into the soil. I build up the organic matter. But if I, let's say I grew silage corn, right? And I was cutting that silage off, taking it away, and not putting anything back on that soil, I would cause rapid degradation of soil quality, and much of that would be due to the loss of the organic matter. Also, it would be due to removal of the potassium, calcium that are in the silage corn. Okay, so you can, in a lifetime, you can take a very fertile soil and make it very infertile, or you could take an infertile soil and build it back up, depending on how you manage it, what you put back in.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out some of the great clips and watch the full interviews right here on In Search of Soil.